All right, welcome to Hoops Tonight here at The Volume. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope all of you guys are having a great week. Just a quick film session today. I have about 15, 17 clips to go through. We're going to be focusing in on the run that took the Boston Celtics from 50 to 49, a 1-point lead in the early third quarter, to a Peyton Pritchard 3 along the left wing. A very nice read from Jaylen Brown in a ball screen that put them up 15 and put them in control of the game. Just going to focus on some specific matchup stuff. Not a ton of really advanced schematics taking place in the series, just with the sheer degree of switching that is occurring. But we're going to look in some of the specific dynamics, some of the specific types of switches that are getting attacked, and also going to have some fun highlighting some high-level one-on-one basketball. You guys know the drill. Before we get started, subscribe to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel so you don't miss any more of our videos. Follow me on Twitter at _JasonLT so you guys don't miss show announcements. Don't forget about our podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts under Hoops Tonight. It's also super helpful if you leave a rating and a review on that front. We also have social media feeds on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where Jackson's doing great work this year. Make sure you guys follow us there. And then keep dropping mailbag questions in the YouTube comments so that we can get to them in our mailbags throughout the remainder of the season. All right, let's talk some basketball. The NBA 82-game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high-stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw-dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. From the play-in games all the way through to the finals, now's the time to back your favorite players and teams as they chase glory. All season long, DraftKings has been the go-to spot for NBA player props, and that does not stop now. Want to make your playoff experience even more intense? Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call. Ready to place your first bet? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Lock in your bets. Let's make this playoff run unforgettable. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HOOPS. That's HOOPS. That's code HOOPS for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. We're going to get right into it here with I talked last night about how primarily Jaylen Brown was looking to attack centers. And as you can see, look at all the screens being switched. They fight through that first one, but they're going to end up giving it up as soon as they have an opportunity here. We have a switch on the two-man game between Porzingis and Jaylen Brown. We have 7 seconds on the shot clock. And the key here is watch how Jaylen Brown, right when he gets the switch, he takes the step back here because he knows his best opportunity to get this big dude off balance is to really make an aggressive driving move towards the basket. Now, as you can see, watch as Jaylen Brown. What I want you to see is look at where Wendell Carter Jr.'s feet end up on this really aggressive driving move from Jaylen Brown. So he gets downhill with that hard hesitation move. Look at where Wendell Carter Jr.'s right foot ends up. It ends up all the way down almost at the third block. And so as a result, you can see his weight on that last crossover move shift way back. And that gives Jaylen plenty of opportunity to get into his step back. And then this is the athleticism piece. I talk about it all the time. The hardest piece of pull-up shooting is getting straight up and down. If you look at the end of the shot, if you look at him, he's going pretty much straight up and down. That's at the end of the shot, it's more or less just a catch and shoot jump shot, right? But in order to get there, he's got to take his body from all the way down in this athletic position, jumping all the way back, and he's got to use both of his feet to catch his weight and to shoot all that momentum straight up. It's all about the legs when it gets into that tough three-point shot making. Paolo obviously doing a healthy amount of attacking Orlando's smalls in the post. This is an excellent example of the Celtics just rotating out of it really well. Kind of like a windshield wiper type of rotation too. What I'm looking at there is just everybody kind of going to the next step in the line, right? So as you can see, Horford's basically bringing the double. Wendell Carter Jr. setting that pin-in screen on Kristaps Porzingis so he can't close out, right? So that's going to put the onus on Jaylen Brown to get there. That's where we're going to get our windshield wiper rotation. Jaylen Brown's going to go to Franz. Jrue Holiday's going to go to KCP. Al Horford's going to go to Corey Joseph, and the advantage is going to be gone. See? Boom. Just like that, you successfully doubled Paolo out of a double team or out of a post mismatch without having to give up anything. This is one of the things that gets difficult about having hesitant catch and shoot shooters out of doubles. This just has to be a jump shot right here, especially if you look at the type of closeout Jaylen Brown's offering. Franz is already looking to the next pass in the line. And what's ending up happening here is KCP's not really in a position to shoot because he's extra 2 feet behind the line. Franz has no interest in shooting that. This is where it's like, if you really want to create opportunity for Paolo to be able to attack mismatches, you got to have guys on the floor that are willing to shoot off the catch and shoot quickly off the catch. Another Jaylen Brown pull-up three. The main thing I'm highlighting here, like we talked about yesterday, is just how easy this is on Jaylen Brown's legs as a way to get a relatively high-value possession without having to overexert himself physically. And if you watch Franz, like, look at where Franz is defending. He's on his heels the whole way. Like, his left foot is all the way down near the elbow here on the left side. Al Horford, it gets a really nice offensive rebound here over Franz Wagner. Look at this bit of shot making from Derek White. So on the offensive rebound, he makes the kick out to Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown had the three-point shot going, but we get a really nice closeout from Paolo here. And on the closeout, that leads to Derek White being the next read. Look at KCP sprinting at him. Watch the footwork of Derek White once again to get his feet established and to get the lift to knock down the shot. And if you look at where he took off with his left foot right in between the three-point line in the corner, and it lands right in the exact same spot. So once again, exact same concept I was just talking about with Jaylen Brown. This is literally the athleticism piece of movement shooting. Getting off of a sprint into a straight up and down jump shot as a right-handed shooter. We always talk about how when you're a right-handed shooter, you got to swing that right leg around to square up your momentum. Watch that right leg from Derek White as he's squaring up in midair. Look at how it just kind of kicks up and swings around a little bit. That is part of that momentum of the right-handed shooter squaring up as he's moving towards his right. This was an interesting little late double from Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown got himself in some trouble here because KCP is a good corner three-point shooter that you don't necessarily want to leave open. But look at how Jaylen's athleticism makes a huge difference on the closeout anyway. So we get a little kickback here from Paolo. Paolo goes. Jaylen Brown brings the late double. There's 2.7 on the shot clock. So I don't necessarily hate the double because Paolo has a tendency to miss some of these reads. I mean, he's even missing just Corey Joseph standing wide open here on the left wing. But he makes the kickback to KCP. Watch this closeout from Jaylen Brown. He identifies it at the last second, starts his momentum, and then gets out there. Now, what I want you to look at here is KCP. This is not a movement three. KCP is standing still, but watch what KCP does with his right leg on the jump shot. He brings it up. He brings it up and like kind of lands off of one foot like he's taking a one-leg fadeaway. That is literally the effect of the Jaylen Brown closeout. He has literally spooked KCP into tweaking the lower half of his form a little bit. So it doesn't seem like much, but Jaylen Brown made just a little bit of an impact on that shot with his closeout by bringing that level of intensity. Caused KCP, you're clearly in KCP's head a little bit with the way he swung his right leg around, even though he wasn't on the move. This is actually an earlier possession. I'm going backwards a little bit here just because I wanted to highlight Jaylen Brown's closeouts. He's on the ball here against Paolo, and he's conceding the three as he should. He's going to go under this ball screen. If I remember correctly, he goes under. Let's see. Just Wendell Carter slips out of it, but notice he's not necessarily pressuring over the screen. So Paolo settles into the shot. Seems like he's in that position where this is basically a concession, but look at the closeout. Gets a great contest. Look at the top of the shot. He's right there. That's an insane bit of recovery defense. And if you listen to the live broadcast, obviously we don't have sound on, but if you listen to the live broadcast, Jaylen let out like this huge yell right as he was doing that closeout. Like you could tell he was like, man, I almost got it. This was a nasty one-on-one move from Paolo Banchero against Jrue Holiday. So the big thing here is I want you to look at the way that Paolo sets up the driving move with a pullback like he's going to go back behind the three-point line. Watch his feet. So he's on the catch. He's ripping to the left. And then on the left, he's going to step back like he's going to take a jump shot, right? So he steps back. Look at his weight. Look at where his left foot goes, all the way back to the three-point line. Watch what happens with Jrue Holiday's feet right when that happens, okay? So he's sliding. As soon as Paolo goes back, watch Jrue. Boom, that little hop. See that little hop? Just with both feet, he hops up instead of back. And because of that hop is biting on the step back here from Paolo. As Paolo sets up the step back, that left foot gets back there. That's what causes Jrue to step up. Jrue steps up immediately at the same time as Paolo makes his aggressive move, and so he just toasts him off the dribble and ends up getting this nice dunk with two hands through the lane as the help isn't set up. But once again, it's just how you can set up these kinds of moves. He rips through. First of all, don't mess around with trying to dribble in front of a guy like Jrue Holiday, right? This is a smart attack. He just catches and rips right away to protect the ball, steps back to set up a forward driving opportunity, gets him to bite on it. Nice dunk there. I've talked about this is a concept I wanted to highlight because we talked about this a lot during the regular season. This is the problem with trying to drive the basketball in 5-out spacing when you don't occupy the dunker spot. So theoretically, you're like, oh, Kristaps Porzingis, great 3-point shooter, Al Horford, great 3-point shooter, Jrue Holiday, Derek White. Like this is a lineup where we can space the floor. But because of the way the floor is situated with all 5 guys out at the 3-point line, look what happens when Jaylen Brown tries to drive. He tries to drive, but look at where KCP is. He's digging right down into the driving lane. Now, Derek White's trying to compensate for that by spacing further out. So, like, yeah, he could pitch this back to Derek White for a 3, but that's a, tough shot to get in this type of situation with 5-out spacing. So, as you can see, KCP can dig, and that forces Jaylen Brown to take that retreat dribble, right? Now, watch how they reconfigure the spacing. Now, in theory, what you'd rather do here is you could just slide Jrue Holiday through down here to this block, and then you move Derek White down to this corner. Now we have our 4-out, 1-in spacing with Jrue Holiday in the dunker spot. That creates either a clear help side defense advantage where Corey Joseph would be the help defender on the drive, or Franz Wagner would switch with Corey Joseph, which would put Horford on Corey Joseph, which would create a rebounding mismatch as he comes in through the lane. But instead what they do, and this kind of more or less accomplishes the same thing just because of the way Orlando was defending, but Derek just clears that angle now. Now look at all this space here. As Derek White is moving through here, Jaylen Brown doesn't even wait for the spacing to reset. Now because Derek White has cleared that side, there's no dig down from KCP. That gives him the driving angle. And he's able to turn the corner. He draws the help. The pass is just a little low. This is another example of that on-time, on-target passing that I always talk about. If Jaylen can put this into the shooting pocket, that can turn into an easy extra pass here or an easy extra pass there, but it ends up being fumbled. Still get a decent look for Derek White, but I just think that's an interesting example of the spacing. Again, look, Jaylen Brown tries to drive at 5-out, easy dig down. Clear that side and create a bigger driving angle. Now he's able to turn the corner. That sort of stuff matters when it comes to playing driving kick basketball. Now in this possession, Franz Wagner is going to hit a little mid-range jumper, but the key here is the defense of Al Horford on these forwards. Look at Al Horford as he's containing the ball against Franz, giving ground, staying in front, meeting him at the basket. Really, really nice defense. This gets worked around, and now he's going to have to do it again against Paolo. Little screen with Franz, gets the switch. I thought Kristaps Porzingis threw a little bit of an unnecessary double here, but they're just crowding him because he's not passing super well, right? Swing, gets back to Franz. And then also, Franz, take the 3. There's 2 seconds on the shot clock. Take the 3. You're dribbling into a lower percentage, higher percentage, but a lower value shot. I talked last night about the 2-man game with Porzingis, how he was slipping into like little high post catches, switches, and short roll possessions. Wendell Carter Jr. hangs out too high on the screen. KCP's chasing. That leaves KCP over the top. That leaves a Porzingis over the top. And then Paolo's a little bit slow on his rotation, but this is just a power move from Porzingis. This is the classic old man vet move. Instead of like going into the lane to try to dunk on Paolo or make an extra pass, he just shoots this sweet little bank shot off the glass there. Another example of Kristaps Porzingis attacking a double team in the post. So we get ball screen with Jaylen Brown, forces the switch. This gets Paolo onto Jaylen. Post entry is made after they swing. Notice also, because they're fronting the post, because Corey Joseph is fronting, Jaylen Brown's not the guy who's going to make the post entry. So he swings it to Derek White. That gives Kristaps Porzingis the opportunity to flip the post position. And then Paolo doubles as soon as he turns his back. Kristaps gets it out, and they end up getting a clean look for Al Horford out of the right corner. He just happens to miss it. This was funny. Do you remember that move that Paolo Banchero hit Jrue Holiday with? How about some sweet revenge from Jrue Holiday hitting Paolo with the exact same move? Drive to the left, fake like he's going to, just that little head fake like he's going to go into the DHO. Oh, you want it, Jaylen Brown? Nope, going to turn the corner. And then this is the really smart move here. If he just goes to the rim, Paolo's probably going to block him. But watch how Jrue Holiday creates that last bit of separation just by bumping Paolo off. Just that little bump there. This is a fun little Steve Nash-like sequence from Derek White as he just dribbles through the lane. We get a little swirl around Horford as he gets this layup. But what I want you to watch is the cut here, because the cut here is what messes up the help defense. So right here, Jrue Holiday is flashing through the lane, and as he goes through, Wendell Carter Jr. is staying with him, and it basically functions as a lead blocker that takes Franz out of the play. Now Franz can't help because, as you can see, can't go there with Wendell Carter Jr. in the way. That allows Derek White to turn the corner, get all the way to the front of the rim. This is just a really nice move from Jaylen Brown against Paolo in ISO. Little bit of a detail. Paolo, I thought, was defending with too much of an open stance here. As we work our way back to Jaylen, watch how Paolo concedes the drive with his stance. See the stance? See how he's opening up to the left? And, like, here's the thing. If you're going to open up, first of all, you don't want to let Jaylen Brown get to his strong hand like that. But secondly, if you're going to open up, you want to open up towards the sideline and you want to have help planned. This is a clean one-on-one with no help. And so for you to just concede the driving lane is, in my opinion, bad defense. And then Jaylen Brown, really nice two-way sequence. Watch how he's aggressive with the switch. Instead of passive with the switch, he lunges out and brings some contact and actually forces Corey Joseph to spin, beats him to that spot, takes the ball away. And then this was the play that, like, makes you just think Jaylen's got a little bit more juice in the legs than we thought at this point in the postseason run. I thought this was some really nice defense from Pritchard on Paolo. And then this is an example of a couple of those kick-out reads that Paolo was missing earlier. So we get a transition cross match against Pritchard. He backs him down. Celtics are crowding him. Watch the kick-out reads. This was funny. So again, not a terrible shot, but like I've got two shooters here on the weak side, both with their hands out ready to catch and shoot with 6 seconds on the shot clock. Instead, we get the lower value little right shoulder fade. And that was also the Goga Batadze just look at, let's just for fun. Look at this is a nasty elbow. Good God. Some WWE shit right there. And then last one here, the shot that put the Celtics up 15, just the classic low man read from Jaylen Brown. So we're setting up a little ball screen here on the left side of the floor. Some good ball pressure from Orlando gets them into a later clock situation, but the Celtics do eventually get over there. Now we have our setup, okay? So watch specifically Anthony Black as he sinks in as the low man. So good screen from Cornette. That gets Jaylen Brown downhill. That puts Cornette behind Goga. As soon as Cornette is behind Goga, that triggers the low man. And Jaylen Brown just takes the read that's available to Pritchard. Pritchard, confident playoff jump shooting against a good closeout, puts the Celtics up 15. They're able to stiff arm the Magic from there. So yeah, just a kind of a fun example of matchup attacking, some nice ISO moves, some quality defense, just some fun basketball there as the Celtics get a big win without Jason Tatum at home against the Magic. That's all we have for tonight, guys. We will be back tonight for another night of NBA playoff reactions on YouTube after the final buzzer of Nuggets Clippers. I will see you guys then.